Welcome back. In today's video, we'll be exploring the top 8 most valuable Monticello Jefferson nickel coins, focusing on their silver content, rarity, and the big value they hold in today's market. The Monticello Jefferson nickel series, minted from 1938 to 2004, is filled with rich history, and some of these coins are worth far more than their face value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, these coins may be hiding in your collection, so stick around to find out which ones could bring you big bucks. Before we get started, first up, the 1949 Monticello Jefferson nickel, a silver coin that has become a prized possession for many collectors. If you're a fan of numismatics or just curious about rare and valuable coins, stick around because this one may surprise you. The 1949 Jefferson nickel, minted without a mint mark, is a fascinating piece of American history. But why is this particular coin so valuable today? Let's break it down. The obverse of the 1949 nickel features a portrait of President Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag. Jefferson's face, with its dignified expression, has become one of the most iconic representations on U.S. coinage. But it's the reverse of this coin that truly makes it stand out. On the reverse, we see Monticello, a Jefferson's beloved home, prominently featured. This design has been used for the Jefferson nickel since its inception in 1938. The Monticello design represents the historical importance of Jefferson's legacy, and the building itself is a symbol of American history. Now, what makes the 1949 nickel particularly unique is that it was minted without a mint mark. Coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint were not marked with a mint mark until the late 1960s. This absence of a mint mark gives the coin its special characteristic, especially when it's in very good condition. But the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. In very good condition, a 1949 Jefferson nickel can exhibit moderate wear, with some details still visible, though not as sharp as in uncirculated examples. However, even in this condition, the coin holds significant value for collectors. So, what's this rare silver coin worth today? In very good condition, the 1949 Monticello Jefferson nickel can range in value from about $135,000 depending on the market. For example, if the 1949 nickel is in extra fine or uncirculated condition, its value could jump to $270,000 or even higher depending on demand. It's important to remember that factors such as rarity, market demand, and the coin's grade all influence its final worth. In 1949, the Jefferson nickel was still made from a blend of 75% copper and 25% nickel, so it wasn't a silver coin by composition. However, it's important to understand that the 1949 nickel remains part of a larger series of coins that help define America's rich history of coinage. Collectors love the 1949 Jefferson nickel not only for its historical design, but also because it marks a period when the U.S. Mint was producing coins with strikingly unique and enduring designs. The absence of a mint mark adds to its charm and rarity, especially for those who collect coins from different years and minting eras. Compared to other coins from 1949, such as the Lincoln penny or the Washington quarter, the Jefferson nickel stands out with its distinct combination of design and rarity. This makes it a valuable piece for anyone interested in building a comprehensive coin collection from the late 1940s. Rare coins like the 1949 Jefferson nickel also appear at auctions, where prices can sometimes reach surprising amounts depending on the bidding competition. So, if you're lucky enough to come across a high-grade 1949 nickel, you could see it sell for much more than you might expect. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting, the 1949 Monticello Jefferson nickel is definitely worth adding to your collection. Its rarity, historical significance, and potential for value growth make it a coin worth seeking out. Next up, the 1946 Monticello Jefferson nickel with the S Mint mark. It's a rare silver coin that, despite its history of circulation, can command big value in today's coin market. In this video, we'll dive deep into its history, its significance, and its current market value. So, if you're a coin lover or just someone curious about rare coins, stick around. Let's start with the basics. The Monticello Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, and it's been a part of American history ever since. But today, we're talking about the 1946 edition, a particularly interesting year for this coin. On the back of the coin, you'll find Monticello, the iconic home of President Thomas Jefferson, engraved on the reverse side. This has been a symbol of the coin's design for decades, making it a beloved part of the U.S. coinage tradition. What makes the extra 1946 Monticello Jefferson nickel with S-mint mark even more interesting is the mint mark. The S stands for the San Francisco Mint, where these coins were produced. It's important to note that in 1946, San Francisco produced a much smaller number of these nickels compared to other mint locations, which means that they are rarer and have higher potential value today. Now, let's talk about circulation condition. This coin was minted during a time when nickel was still used as a component in US currency. Coins like this one were part of everyday transactions, meaning that most examples you find today have been worn down through years of use. Circulation condition. This 1946 Jefferson nickel may show noticeable wear on the raised areas of the design, including Jefferson's portrait and the Monticello building on the reverse. This wear can affect its value, but it still holds significance due to its historical context and silver content. Speaking of condition, coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state. A coin in circulation condition might fall between good and very good, depending on how much wear it has experienced over time. Even in circulation condition, a 1946 Jefferson nickel with the S mint mark can be quite valuable, especially if it has been well preserved. Coins with higher grades and sharper details can fetch prices well above the average for typical circulated nickels. So what kind of value are we talking about? As of 2024, a 1946 Jefferson nickel with the S mint mark in circulated condition typically ranges in value from $95,000, depending on its specific condition and the market demand. However, if the coin is well preserved or has been professionally graded, it could see values climbing into the $280,000 range. And if you happen to have one in uncirculated or near mint condition, you're looking at a potential value of $300,000 or more. Coins like these are especially sought after by collectors and dealers because of their silver content and limited mintage. The silver composition in these coins also plays a significant role in driving up demand, especially during times when precious metals experience price fluctuations. Compared to other Jefferson nickels, the 1946 S mint mark version is particularly rare and valuable. As you can see, while other years like 1947 or 1948 are common, the 1946 with the S mint mark stands out as a more desirable coin for collectors due to its scarcity and historical importance. Many collectors are drawn to these coins not just for their silver content or rarity, but because of the historical significance they represent. The 1946 date marks the end of World War II, a turning point in history, making this coin a small yet important artifact of the post-war era. If you have a 1946 Monticello Jefferson nickel with the S mint mark in your collection or find one in circulation, take a moment to appreciate its historical value. While it may not be a rare key date coin like some others, Its significance and potential for growth in value are something every collector should recognize. Whether you're an experienced numismatist or just starting out, always take care of your rare coins. Consider investing in a good coin holder or protective case to ensure they stay in the best condition possible, which can significantly affect their value down the line. Next up, the 1957 Jefferson nickel is one of those coins that might not get the attention it deserves at first glance, but it holds great significance in the world of numismatics. Produced by the United States Mint, this nickel features the iconic image of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, designed by Felix Schlag. But it's the reverse, featuring Monticello, Jefferson's home, that gives this coin its name. On the obverse, we see Jefferson's portrait, while the reverse shows Monticello, his estate in Virginia. The 1957 Jefferson nickel is often a favorite among collectors because of its classic design, but what truly sets it apart is its condition and minting details. Now, let's talk about the condition. This 1957 nickel we're looking at today is graded as very fine. But what does that mean? In very fine condition, we'll show some wear, but the major details, like Jefferson's profile and Monticello's design, will still be visible with minimal distortion. There will be some slight wear on the high points of the design, but it retains a lot of its original charm. Understand grading better, let's quickly go through the main levels: uncirculated, extremely fine, very fine, fine, and good. Move down the scale, the coin shows more signs of wear. Very fine is a solid mid-range grade where the coin's design is still easily recognizable, but some wear has occurred from circulation. Something that really makes this coin stand out: its rarity and demand. Now, the 1957 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark is especially rare. Why? Because most Jefferson nickels from that year have a mint mark. The US Mint produced these coins at several mints, and the presence or absence of a mint mark can affect a coin's value. In 1957, coins minted at the Philadelphia Mint didn't feature a mint mark, while those from the Denver and San Francisco mints did. The coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark are less common than their minted counterparts, and thus more desirable to collectors. In today's market, a 1957 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in very fine condition can fetch anywhere between $180,000 depending on the specific quality and demand. However, if the coin is in better condition, like extra fine or even uncirculated, the value can climb significantly. For example, if you happen to come across a 1957 Jefferson nickel in uncirculated condition, its value could range from $220,000 or even more, especially if there is a higher demand among collectors at the time. This makes the 1957 without a mint mark a coin worth keeping an eye out for. So, if you're lucky enough to have a 1957 Jefferson nickel in your collection, or if you spot one at a coin shop, take the time to examine its condition and see if it's the rare, no mint mark variety. Even if it's not in pristine shape, this coin can still be a valuable piece to own. For collectors, always handle your rare coins with care. Use gloves and store them in a cool, dry place to prevent further wear and maintain their value over time. The 1957 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark is a rare and valuable coin in very fine condition. Next up, the 1953 Jefferson nickel is part of the Monticello series, which has been a staple of American coinage since 1938. This series features President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, with the Monticello building from his Virginia estate featured on the reverse. The 1953 coin, in particular, is notable for being struck in the post-war period when silver was still used in certain coins. While this nickel is made from a mix of 75% copper and 25% nickel rather than silver, it holds an important place in the history of American coinage. Its design is timeless, and it's been a favorite among collectors for decades. Now, let's talk about the condition. In numismatics, the condition of a coin is key to its value. The coin we're focusing on today is in fine condition. For a 1953 Jefferson nickel, this means that it has some visible wear, but the details are still quite distinguishable. On the obverse, you can clearly see Jefferson's profile and the lettering, while the reverse still shows the Monticello building with good clarity. Coins in fine condition are not pristine, but they maintain their key details, making them desirable for collectors. While uncirculated or higher-grade coins often command more, fine-condition coins like this one still hold great appeal for those looking to add an affordable yet valuable piece to their collection. So, what makes this coin worth more than just a nickel? The 1953 Jefferson nickel, in fine condition, can be worth anywhere from $300,000 depending on the demand and the specific market. But when we're talking about rare coins, every small detail can make a significant difference. If you're lucky enough to find a 1953 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, you're in for an even bigger surprise. In the world of numismatics, coins with no mint mark can be rarer, which can push their market value up significantly. A nickel without a mint mark is a potential rarity, and collectors often pay a premium for it. While the 1953 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark is not as common as other years, it's still highly sought after. In fine condition, this coin could fetch anywhere from $400,000 or even more if it's certified by a professional grading service. Why does the 1953 Jefferson nickel hold such value despite being a relatively common year? First, it's all about its rarity. The 1953 nickel was produced in large quantities, but the absence of a mint mark makes it more uncommon. Secondly, as with any collectible, the historical significance of the coin plays a role in its desirability. Jefferson and Monticello are iconic symbols of American heritage, which adds to the coin's charm. If you're a collector and you're looking for a 1953 Jefferson nickel, here are some tips. First, check for the absence of the mint mark on the obverse. That's your key indicator that the coin might be rarer than others. Then, make sure to examine the coin's condition. Even if it's in fine condition, it's essential to protect it properly. Use a coin holder or a protective case to avoid unnecessary wear and tear. Remember, the value of rare coins can fluctuate based on demand and market trends, so it's a good idea to keep an eye on auction results and dealer prices. So, whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just getting into coin collecting, the 1953 Jefferson nickel is a fascinating piece to consider. It offers a piece of history, a rare find without a mint mark, and a market value that can make it a solid investment. Next up, the 1962 Monticello Jefferson nickel with a D mint mark in very fine condition. This coin is not only a piece of history, but also holds significant value in today's market. So, if you're curious about this rare silver nickel and its value in the modern numismatic world, make sure to stick around for the entire video. First, let's take a closer look at the coin itself. The 1962 Monticello Jefferson nickel is part of a series that was first released in 1938. The design features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, front, and Monticello, his Virginia estate, on the reverse, back. The coin is made of a copper-nickel blend with a silver content of around 25%, which was typical for nickels struck during the mid-20th century. The D mint mark indicates that this particular coin was minted in Denver. While there are several years of Jefferson nickels from the 1960s, the 1962 issue, especially in very fine condition, is considered somewhat rarer and is prized among collectors. Now, you may wonder, what does very fine mean when it comes to coin grading? Coin grading is a system used to evaluate the condition of a coin. In the case of a very fine coin, the details are still sharp and well defined, but some wear is noticeable. On a 1962 Jefferson nickel, you should expect some light wear on Jefferson's hair and features, but the overall appearance should still be pleasing to the eye, with good clarity in the design. Coins in very fine condition strike a balance. It's not too worn, but not in perfect mint condition either. They can be extremely valuable, especially for rarer dates and mints like the 1962 D. Monticello Jefferson nickel. So, what makes the 1962 D. Monticello Jefferson nickel so rare and valuable today? While the coin was minted in large numbers, its survival rate is lower than some might expect, especially in very fine condition. Many of these coins were used heavily in circulation during the 1960s, leading to wear and damage over the years. This rarity, combined with the demand for high-quality coins in the market, is what drives its value. As with many vintage U.S. coins, the 1962 Jefferson nickel's value is also influenced by the silver content, which gives it intrinsic worth in addition to its collectible appeal. Now, let's talk about the big question: how much is this coin worth today? The value of a 1962 D. Monticello Jefferson nickel can vary based on its condition, rarity, and demand in the market. A nickel in very fine condition is worth more than one that's heavily worn. As of recent market trends, a 1962 D. Monticello Jefferson nickel in very fine condition can be worth anywhere from $200,000. This may seem like a modest sum, but keep in mind, the market for coins is always shifting, and rare coins tend to appreciate in value over time. If you think you may have a 1962 D. Monticello Jefferson nickel in your collection, it's important to ensure its authenticity and condition. A good rule of thumb is to look for the clear D mint mark on the reverse side just to the right of Monticello. If you're uncertain about the condition, consider getting your coin professionally graded. A coin's grade can drastically impact its value, and a professional opinion can give you peace of mind that you're handling a genuine, well-preserved coin. For those interested in buying or selling a 1962 D. Monticello Jefferson nickel, the best place to start is at reputable coin dealers, online auction sites like eBay, or numismatic shows. You can also check auction results for comparable coins to get an idea of current market trends. To wrap things up, the 1962 D. Monticello Jefferson nickel in very fine condition is an intriguing and valuable coin that any collector would be proud to have in their collection. Its combination of historical significance, silver content, and relative rarity make it a highly sought-after piece among numismatists. If you have one of these coins, you may just be holding on to a valuable piece of U.S. history. Whether you're an experienced collector or just starting out, this coin is a great addition to any collection. Next up, the fascinating world of rare coins, focusing on the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1969 with a D mint mark. But this isn't just any ordinary coin. It's a silver coin in circulation condition, and it's currently gaining big attention in the market. We're going to explore its history, unique features, and, most importantly, its current market value. The Monticello Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, and it's one of the most iconic coins in American numismatics. The obverse features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, while the reverse showcases Monticello, his home in Virginia. This design remained in use for decades, but today we're specifically focusing on the 1969 issue. In 1969, the U.S. Mint continued producing the Jefferson nickel series, with slight variations, and the D Mint mark represents that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. This year is notable because of its silver content, though it's important to clarify that not all 1969 nickels are silver. In fact, most were made from a copper-nickel alloy, but we'll talk more about how to identify the silver ones in just a bit. Now, why is the D Mint mark so significant? Coins with different mint marks were produced in different U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The 1969 D nickel, in particular, was minted at the Denver Mint, which is why it has that D stamped on the reverse side near Monticello. While the mint mark itself doesn't change the coin's overall design, it does indicate its origin, which adds a layer of collectability. Now, here's where things get a little tricky. Most 1969 Jefferson nickels are made from a standard copper-nickel alloy, but the rare silver versions are typically those minted for special occasions or under special circumstances. In 1969, the U.S. Mint produced a limited number of silver nickels, primarily for proof and uncirculated sets. If you come across a 1969 Jefferson nickel in circulation that's silver, it could be a rare find. Silver nickels from this era have a composition of 35% silver, which is significantly higher than the typical copper-nickel mix found in most nickels. These silver coins are more durable, resistant to corrosion, and have a much higher melt value than their copper-nickel counterparts. Now, how can you tell if you've found a silver 1969 D nickel? First, it's important to check the weight. A typical nickel weighs 5 grams, but silver nickels from this period are slightly heavier, around 5.5 grams. Next, use a magnet. Copper-nickel alloys are magnetic, so if your coin sticks to a magnet, it's not silver. The silver versions will not be attracted to the magnet. Additionally, a silver coin will have a different shine and luster compared to a standard nickel. Silver coins have a brighter, more reflective appearance that is difficult to miss. Now, let's get to the exciting part: the market value. A regular 1969 Jefferson nickel in circulation condition is typically worth only a few cents, due to its widespread availability and common composition. However, if you've got a silver version in good condition, the value skyrockets. Silver nickels from the 1960s are highly sought after by collectors, especially in uncirculated or proof condition. Right now, a silver 1969 D Jefferson nickel in circulation condition could fetch anywhere from $100,000, depending on its specific grade and overall condition. If it's in uncirculated or proof condition, the price can go much higher, up to $100,000, even more for well-preserved specimens. And if you have one that's particularly rare or in pristine condition, it could be worth even more. So, to wrap up, the 1969 Jefferson nickel with the D Mint mark is an exciting find for any collector, especially if it's a silver coin. While most of these nickels are worth only a small amount, the silver versions can fetch significant prices depending on their condition. Always be on the lookout for these coins, and remember, condition is key when it comes to determining their market value. Next up, the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1970 with the D Mint mark. This nickel holds a unique place in coin collecting history, and you might be surprised at how much value it holds today in the market, even in circulated condition. So grab your magnifying glass, because we're about to explore the details of this silver rarity, the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1970, and what makes it so valuable. Before we jump into the specifics of the 1970 nickel, let's take a brief look at the history of the Jefferson nickel series. This series was first issued in 1938, honoring Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, who was also a key figure in the nation's early history. The reverse design of the Jefferson nickel features Monticello, Jefferson's famous home in Virginia. Over the years, the design has remained mostly unchanged, although there have been some modifications, such as the 1938 design, the 1940 redesign, and the famous 1950-era coins. The Monticello nickel series is beloved by collectors, and it's one of the most widely circulated coins in American history. However, there's something special about the 1970 version of the coin, especially those with the D mint mark. The 1970 Monticello Jefferson nickel, produced with the D mint mark, is a rare find in the world of coin collecting, and here's why. In 1970, the U.S. Mint faced some challenges in production, leading to some minor variations in the coins struck that year. The D mint mark, which indicates that the coin was minted in Denver, is one of the key identifiers of this particular issue. But it's not just the mint mark that gives this coin its value. The 1970 nickel is made of a copper-nickel alloy, but it still retains significant silver content, which makes it valuable to collectors and investors. The slight silver content from the past years adds a certain level of desirability, especially in a coin that's been circulated. Can a circulated 1970 Monticello Jefferson nickel still be valuable? The answer is yes. While it's true that coins in circulated condition are generally worth less than those in mint or uncirculated condition, this particular nickel holds some significant market value, especially when you consider its rarity and the historical appeal. Coins like this one, despite their wear and tear, can still fetch prices ranging from a few dollars to upwards of $400,000, depending on factors like the extent of the wear, any unique characteristics, and the demand at the time. Of course, if you find one in better condition, such as in extra fine or uncirculated condition, the value could be significantly higher. When it comes to valuing rare coins like the 1970 Monticello Jefferson nickel, there are a few key factors at play. Market trends, the coin's condition, and its rarity are the main elements that determine its price. While this nickel might not be as valuable as some of the rarest coins in history, it still commands a premium for collectors looking to complete their sets or add a historically significant piece to their collections. Recent sales of circulated 1970 Jefferson nickels with the D mint mark have seen values fluctuate, but they remain in demand. Prices range depending on whether the coin has any specific wear patterns or other distinguishing features that appeal to collectors. If you happen to come across a 1970 Monticello Jefferson nickel with a D mint mark in circulation, you might just have a valuable piece on your hands. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just starting out, the best way to preserve the value of this coin is to handle it with care. Store it in a protective holder or case to keep it safe from further wear and tear. Remember, rarity, demand, and condition are everything when it comes to rare coins like the Monticello Jefferson nickel. And while it's not the rarest coin in the world, its place in history and the silver content make it a must-have for collectors. So, there you have it, the 1970 Monticello Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark. While this coin may have been in circulation for decades, it's still a sought-everywhere piece in today's coin market. Next up, the 1965 Monticello Jefferson nickel. But this isn't just any nickel. This one is in circulation condition and without a mint mark, making it rare and valuable in today's market. Released as part of the regular series of Jefferson nickels, this 1965 coin is often overlooked. However, It has an intriguing backstory and a surprising value that has piqued the interest of modern-day collectors. But why is a coin from 1965 so valuable? Let's break it down. In 1965, the U.S. Mint produced Jefferson nickels that featured the familiar design of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, his iconic home, on the reverse. While this design had been in place since 1938, what makes the 1965 issue particularly interesting is the year it came out, amid the coinage crisis during the mid-1960s. The United States was facing a shortage of silver, which led to a switch in materials for many coins, including quarters and dimes. However, the Jefferson nickel remained unaffected by these changes, as it had already been made from a copper-nickel composition. Despite being of regular circulation coin, the 1965 Jefferson nickel is often undervalued in terms of its rarity. The reason? Many of these coins were heavily circulated, meaning they saw a lot of wear and tear, and fewer coins have survived in pristine condition. Now, let's talk about the absence of a mint mark. Mint marks on U.S. coins indicate which facility the coin was struck at. In 1965, the U.S. Mint had several active facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. However, the 1965 Jefferson nickel was primarily produced at the Philadelphia Mint and did not bear a mint mark, as was the norm for that year. While this is common for coins minted at the Philadelphia facility, it adds to the rarity of this specific nickel in circulation condition. For collectors, mint marks, or the lack thereof, can significantly affect the value of a coin. So, what is this coin worth today? Well, a 1965 Jefferson nickel in circulation condition typically carries a modest value. Most examples in worn circulated states can be found for around $200,000. However, where this coin really shines is in its rare finds, those that are in better condition or feature certain characteristics. Uncirculated examples, or those in higher grades, such as extra fine or AU, can fetch prices anywhere from $300,000 depending on demand and condition. But the real value comes when you find one that has managed to retain its original sharpness and detail, despite years of circulation. There are several factors that influence the value of any coin, including the 1965 Jefferson nickel. First and foremost, condition plays a huge role. Coins that have been kept in excellent condition, often referred to as mint state or uncirculated, are far more valuable than those showing heavy signs of wear. Next, we have rarity. Though the 1965 Jefferson nickel was minted in large quantities, the number of well-preserved examples from that year is much lower. The more rare and harder to find a coin is, the higher its value tends to be. To assess the value of your 1965 Jefferson nickel, start by evaluating its condition. Look at the details on both sides, especially the image of Jefferson and the Monticello building on the reverse. If the coin shows significant wear with little detail left, it will likely be worth only a few cents. However, if the coin has been well preserved, showing sharp details and minimal wear, it could be worth much more. Another key factor is whether your coin has any unique features like errors or die cracks, which can increase its value further. Always take time to examine your coin closely, or consult with a professional coin grader. In conclusion, while the 1965 Jefferson nickel may not be the most famous coin out there, it certainly deserves a closer look. Its value lies in its rarity in higher grades and its role in U.S. history during a pivotal time for American coinage. So, if you happen to come across one in your collection or during a coin hunt, take the time to inspect it. You might be holding on to a hidden gem. Thanks for joining us on this coin collecting journey. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell icon to get notified whenever we drop a new video. Until next time, happy collecting.